That ringing in your ears isn't random, and ignoring it could cost you more than your sleep. You've heard it before, that sharp, high-pitched sound that shows up out of nowhere. Sometimes it lasts just a few seconds. Sometimes it stays longer than you're comfortable with. And for some people, it never really goes away. Most people ignore it. They shrug it off. They tell themselves it's nothing. But that sound has a name. It's called tinnitus. And in some cases, it's your body trying to warn you about something deeper. So what exactly is going on? Let's keep this simple. Tinnitus is not a disease, it's a symptom. That ringing, buzzing, or hissing sound you hear is not coming from your environment. There is no external noise. Your brain is creating it. Inside your ears are tiny hair-like cells. These cells pick up sound waves and convert them into signals your brain understands. Every sound you hear passes through this system. Now imagine those cells get damaged. Your brain is used to receiving constant sound signals. When those signals reduce or stop, your brain doesn't just sit quietly. It reacts. It tries to compensate. It turns up its sensitivity, almost like increasing the volume on a speaker when the input is low. And in doing that, it creates its own sound. That sound is what you hear as ringing. Research has shown that tinnitus is linked to abnormal activity in the part of the brain responsible for processing sound. So even though there's no real sound around you, your brain is still active, almost too active. And this is more common than people think. Roughly 1 in 5 people will experience tinnitus at some point in their lives. That's millions of people dealing with the same strange noise. But not all tinnitus is the same, and the causes matter. The most common cause is loud noise. If you use earphones at high volume, attend loud events, or work in noisy environments, you are slowly damaging those tiny hair cells in your ear. And here's the part people don't like to hear. Once those cells are damaged, they don't grow back. That ringing you hear after a concert or after blasting music through your headphones is not harmless. It's your body telling you that something has already been affected. Another cause is something as simple as earwax. When earwax builds up, it blocks sound from entering your ear properly. Your brain notices the change and tries to adjust. That adjustment can lead to ringing. Aging is another factor. As people get older, their hearing naturally declines. This is a normal process, but when hearing fades, the brain sometimes tries to fill in the missing sounds. And again, that can show up as tinnitus. Now here's something many people don't expect. Stress plays a huge role. When you're stressed or anxious, your nervous system is on edge. Everything becomes more intense. And it can turn into a cycle. You hear the ringing. It annoys you. You get anxious. The ringing feels louder. And then the anxiety increases again. It feeds itself. Certain medications can also trigger tinnitus. Some drugs are known to affect the ear. High doses of aspirin, some antibiotics, and certain anti-inflammatory drugs can all play a role. This is known as ototoxicity, which simply means harmful to the ear. And then there's hearing loss. Most people who have tinnitus also have some level of hearing loss, even if they don't realize it. Your brain notices even small changes, and it tries to adapt. Up to this point, everything might sound manageable. But here's where things shift. Not all tinnitus is harmless. And this is where people make a mistake that can cost them. They ignore it completely. Because sometimes, that ringing is not just your brain trying to fill silence. Sometimes, it's a warning sign. The problem is, the warning signs are easy to miss. Let's talk about them. If the ringing is only in one ear, that's not something to ignore. It could point to a structural issue affecting the hearing pathway. In rare cases, it could be linked to growths affecting the nerve responsible for hearing. If the sound feels like a heartbeat, like a steady whoosh in your ear, that's different. That's called pulsating tinnitus, and it's often connected to blood flow. It can be linked to high blood pressure or changes in the blood vessels near your ear. That type needs proper attention. If your hearing suddenly drops and ringing starts at the same time, that's urgent. This could be sudden hearing loss, and early treatment can make a big difference. Waiting too long can lead to permanent damage. If the ringing comes with dizziness, spinning sensations, or balance problems, your inner ear may be involved. The ear controls both hearing and balance, so when both are affected, it points to something deeper. And if the ringing keeps getting louder over time, or never stops, that's not something to simply live with. Your body is clearly telling you something is off. Now take a second and think about this. Most cases of tinnitus are not dangerous, but the danger comes from ignoring the signs that are. Here's the truth. Tinnitus is not just about your ears. It involves your brain, your nerves, your blood flow, and even your emotional state. And the biggest mistake people make is waiting. They keep telling themselves it will go away. They delay taking action. They hope it's nothing. But the earlier you understand what's causing it, the more control you have. And in many cases, it can be reduced. So what can you actually do? Lower the volume of your music, especially if you use earphones often. Give your ears breaks. Silence is good, but complete silence can sometimes make tinnitus feel louder. So soft background noise can actually help. Manage your stress. Even basic breathing exercises can calm your nervous system and reduce how intense the ringing feels. Check your medications if you notice a connection. And most importantly, pay attention to warning signs. There are also techniques that can help your brain adapt. One of them is sound therapy. This uses gentle background sounds like rain, white noise, or soft music to help your brain shift focus away from the ringing. Over time, your brain starts treating the ringing like background noise, something that doesn't need attention. There's also a method called cognitive behavioral therapy. It doesn't remove the sound, but it changes how your brain reacts to it. And that matters more than people think. Because the real struggle isn't just the ringing itself, it's how much attention your brain gives it. That's what makes it feel unbearable. Once your brain learns to ignore it, it loses its power over you. So that ringing in your ears, it's not random. It's your brain reacting to something. Most of the time, it's linked to noise, stress, or small changes in hearing. But in some cases, it's a signal you shouldn't ignore. The difference is knowing when it's harmless and when it's not. Pay attention to your body. Don't brush off the warning signs, and act early when something feels off. Because protecting your hearing now is a lot easier than trying to fix it later. Watch the next video on your screen before you ignore another symptom that could matter.